Children, welcome to class 11th. So this is your first class in political science. We have two books in political science. Your first book is Indian Constitution and your second book is Political Theory. So we'll be starting the first topic today, Indian Constitution. As you have read in class 11th, in your civics part, in your pol science part, what is constitution first of all? So constitution is a written book which includes all the rules and regulations how our country to be governed. So if we talk about the proper definition of constitution, it is a body of written or unwritten rules and regulations which regulates the functioning of the government. So as when India got independence, the Indian constitution is adopted from other countries. It is borrowed from other countries. Few countries they have written constitution, few countries they have unwritten constitution, few countries they have rigid constitution, few countries they have flexible constitution. But as India is a developing country, so Indian constitution is flexible as well as rigid also, and Indian constitution is a written constitution. So now, what is the function of the constitution? Why do we need constitution? Why we cannot have the without the constitution? First of all, after the independence, it was a necessity to form a constitution because through constitution only we can have coordination and assurance. So constitution allows coordination and assurance. Now where the constitution has assurance, like in India we have people from the different backgrounds, different cultures, different mindset. So to make them together, to bring them together, there should be a coordination, and after the coordination there should be a assurance as well. So what happened with the constitution? It helps us to overcome the problem of diversity. As India is a unity in diversity, बहुत सारी diversity से एक unite किया गया है. And then second, it form the same rules for all the members, like there is no discrimination on based of caste, creed, religion or sex. So it is all the same rules for all the members. So this is what the first function of the constitution. Why do we need constitution? Then it gives us decision making powers. So now next question will be, if the constitution is there, why do we need the separate decision making power? But yes, suppose for example, if we talk about your home also, if you talk about school also, there are different people who has the different decision making powers. For example, your teachers, they give you today this topic has to be taught, and administration is doing the different work. So same way, in the decision making powers, there are different organs of the government. As you have read in class 10th also, there are main organs: executive, judiciary and legislative. So there are different parts of the organs. They take the decision if anything has to be executed. So executive body is different, which consist of our prime minister, president and cabinet of ministers. And then if we talk about legislature, there it comes our Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha and different members are there. And then in judiciary, Supreme Court and High Court and lower courts as well. So all the three different organs, they are working on their own, they are taking their own decisions. So this comes under the decision making powers. So then third function of the government is limitation on the power of the government. So next is our aspirations. Next function of the constitution is aspiration and goals of the society. Like it sets the goal for the society, and the number of provisions are inserted to ensure the welfare of the society. Like it gives assurance ki proper education system is being followed, what curriculum has to be set, if the hospitals are there, which guidelines has to be followed. So it gives different aspirations and goals of the society. Then it gives fundamental identity of a people. How it gives fundamental identity? Because everybody is helpful, everybody is having the different regional, everybody is having the different religion, everybody belongs to different community, but apart from it everybody is a Indian. So it is helpful in communal identities, and it gives a one fundamental identity: we are all Indians. Though whatever it is, as in India we have 29 states, yes, at regionalism we can say the people belongs to the different states, Andhra Pradesh, Hyderabad, but at last we are all citizen of the country. So it gives a national identity. Then Constitutional Assembly of India. So the first idea was given by M.N. Roy. So later on Indian National Congress and Jawaharlal Nehru also raised the same demand that there should be a Constituent Assembly of India. So then what happened? After that, there was one cabinet mission recommended, and British government accepted the formation of Constituent Assembly for India. So cabinet mission recommended and British government accepted the formation of Constituent Assembly for India. So then what was the important point? What was the objective? Why was it required? So the main points which were considered in it, like India is an independent country, sovereign country and republic country. Then India shall be a union of states. Then territory forming the union shall be autonomous units and exercise all powers except those assigned to the union. Then all authorities shall flow from the people, as India is a democratic country. These were all the main objective resolutions by Nehru. Then all people of India shall be granted economic, social and political justice. Then next was the minority, backward and tribal people also. They should be provided adequate safeguards, whether they are from any tribes, whether they belong to minority group, whether they are from backward class, scheduled class, they should be given the adequate safeguards. Then territorial integrity shall be maintained according to the justice and law of the civilized nation. Then law would make full and willing contribution to promotion of world peace. The land would make full and willing contribution to the promotion of the. So then those were all what we have discussed till now. These were all the resolution कि क्या क्या होना चाहिए. So now for that, the Constituent Assembly of India, it was formed in 1946. It was formed in 1946, and that time the total strength was 389 members were there, who were partially elected and partially nominated by the body. Then in that the seats were allotted to Muslims, Sikhs and generals. And then first meeting of the Constituent Assembly was on 9th December 1946. So members from Pakistan withdrawn from the assembly and number of reduced from 389 to 299. It was formed in 1946 and the total strength was 389, partially elected and partially nominated body, and the main seats were allotted to Muslim, Sikhs and general, and the first meeting was on 9 December 1946, and the members from the Pakistan withdrawn from assembly and number reduced to 299. Now, who was the president of Constituent Assembly? The president of Constituent Assembly was Dr. Rajendra Prasad, and the chairman, we can say the father of the Indian Constitution, was B.R. Ambedkar. Then, mode of promulgation. So, authenticity of the Constitution will depend. They said the Constitution should be as per the military role, and it should have a balance design. But what was the composition of the Constituent Assembly? See, the Constituent Assembly, the main was the most members of the Indian Constituent Assembly were indirectly elected. They were not directly elected. So then, because that time there was no voting system of parity was ignored. Everybody was seriously, every minute matter was discussed seriously in the assembly. Then third is institutional arrangement. Now, what is institutional arrangement? The institutional arrangement which we have discussed, our whole country is divided into three arrangements basically. As we have discussed, our country is divided into three organs: legislative, executive and judicial. So executive mein we all the people, those who execute the things. For example, in your school also, your in charges and all, they execute the things. Judicial is all your Supreme Court, for example, chairman sir, principal ma'am, all these things. And the legislative, the parliament, it is all consists of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. Then the provision, as I told you, our provision borrowed from the other constitution. The first ब्रिटेन में से हमने लिया फर्स्ट पास द पोस्ट सिस्टम. देयर इट इज़ इन पार्लियामेंट्री फॉर्म ऑफ गवर्नमेंट एंड देयर इज़ अ रूल ऑफ लॉ एंड द स्पीकर एंड हिज रोल इज़ देयर एंड इट इज़ अ लॉ मेकिंग प्रोसीजर. देन USA we have adopted the fundamental rights, judicial review, independence of the judiciary as judiciary to be independent, there should not be any interference. Judicial review, we can review the things, and all 6 fundamental rights. France में से we have adopted the principles of liberty, equality and fraternity. Everybody should be given liberty, everybody should be treated equally, and fraternity. So Canada से we have got the quasi federal government, जिसमें कि there will be a local level, there will be a central level, there will be a state level, and then all the directive principles of the state policy. We will be discussing about fundamental rights. What are fundamental rights? So fundamental rights are the rights which are given by our Indian Constitution to each and every citizen of the country, through which the person can enjoy, the person can move from one place to another, the person can express his or her own views, own thoughts, and within a limited power. So basically there are 6 fundamental rights in our constitution: right to equality, right to freedom, right against exploitation, cultural and educational rights, right to freedom of religion, and right to constitutional remedies. Equality. So first of all, what is right to equality? So basically right to equality means equality before law. Everybody is equal in front of law. Everybody is treated equally. And if the rule of law is there for everyone. If there is a punishment for 3 years, it is there for everyone. So then second is equal access to shops, bathing, ghats and public places like railway stations, airports, bus stops, religion places. This is equally important. So everybody can has the equal right to access all these public places. Then there is a equality of opportunity in employment. For example, if you want to become doctor and your eligibility is same whichever caste, whichever creed you belong to. If you want to become teacher, your this thing eligibility will be same. Then the abolition of titles, abolition of untouchability. We cannot say ki he is a rich, he is a poor. So under right to equality, everybody is equal. So everybody can go to hotels, everybody can move from one place to another place. If whatever law and order is there, it is there for everyone. So this is for right to equality. And next is right to freedom. So now what is right to freedom? Under right to freedom, everybody can give their own view, everybody can express himself or herself whatever they feel, whether it is right or whether it is wrong. Everybody can do whatever they want, but it should not, your actions should not harm others. Then the freedom is not unlimited. See, everywhere where the constitution has given freedom, there is always set limits on it. And the constitution and the right to freedom says live with the dignity, give respect and have respect. That comes under right to